recording it? Oh my god. I wonder if I can park here.
Not even pretty.
So I guess we made it to DongPu Lodge. Pretty beautiful out here, don't you think? Gorgeous sunset, right? Yes, right now it's that light behind you. It's 16 degrees and 96% humidity because the air is water, as you can tell from our ride. What are your impressions?
It's cool. Quite cold.
Are you ready for tomorrow?
I hope so.
Nice. Time for sleep, kitty. Bye. Everyone is excited to go to the top, yeah, especially you. How did you sleep? That means we get to sleep when we get down, right? You feeling good about yourself? So we just started, probably 10 minutes in. It's I think the early group that did the long hike left before us, and the later group is leaving after us. What do you think our chances of success are, Kitty?
100%.
That's a good attitude. Let's do it. High five. Okay, step one is we're at the police station. Got to put in the wilderness permits. Make sure we can go in the wild safely. Yeah. Let's go. What do you think of the start of this hike? Have you ever seen so many stars before? We're doing pretty good, right? Despite the cold and the altitude, it doesn't really feel too bad. We're making good time. We haven't even been walking for an hour. Okay, we've reached the trailhead, about an hour. How are you feeling?
Feeling okay.
Yeah, it's pretty warm, all things considered, because we keep taking clothes off.
Yes.
And we're the only ones on this hike, just looking at a bunch of stars, which my phone can't see. Oh, you can sort of see at my phone, but there's millions more.
Okay.
You ready to crush it?
Yes.
Okay. Now the real off-road starts. Wow, what a view. Sunrise just happened. It feels like I can see forever. There's a river down there right in the middle of the frame. I think a few waterfalls as well.
Ah, it looks so bad.
I know. The dangers of hiking outside is that we don't get to look as beautiful as we do in the city.
Damn.
But we get to look at the beautiful nature while we look a little ugly ourselves.
I
It's probably a deep moral somewhere in this, right?
Oh my gosh. I
So beautiful. So, in the light, this place is even more beautiful. really just can't get enough of looking out into the valley and seeing the clouds and the river well below us, probably like a few hundred meters below us at this point, and just walking underneath this cutout rock section. I can't imagine the hard work that the people that made this trail had to put in to carve it all out, especially as it's like, you know, more than 12 kilometers to get to the peak. The whole valley. And my little hiking friend. Most surprising part of the hike so far?
There's some like steep part, and it's really a little harder to breathe for me, I guess.
Yeah, it's really either too steep or it's just really flat, right?
Yeah.
There's not like a gentle slope. It's either a bunch of switchbacks.
And then you can see this. Super fucking steep.
Yeah, later we gotta go like up there. What is the best part so far?
The view, I guess.
Yeah, you like the view? Do you think it's easier than you expected?
Not really.
I think it's actually easier than I expected.
Really?
Yeah.
So far.
So far, yeah. Now we've started the last portion of the hike to Front Peak. It's quite a bit steeper than the walk up to the split. I feel like every meter forward, I'm probably going at least another meter and a half up. It's definitely getting a little harder now as we try and go directly uphill. I know it seems easy from here, but we gotta go up there, up those rocks. So here the trail has become a little bit more difficult because we're literally climbing a huge boulder field, and it's gonna be like this for the next 500 or so meters. So I'm trying to both take some cool pictures, but also trying not to fall because the rocks aren't exactly even, and there's quite a lot of them. As you can see, the struggle uphill continues, but we are almost there. I feel like we are less than 200 meters from the peak. Just got to get through this rock pile. We got just a little bit to go. There's a bunch of ropes and chains here. So it's like super steep now. Honestly, even steeper than it was before. Hold on. There you go. But the view is gonna be worth it as soon as I can make my way up this last final push. I want to say we have like, man, less than 10 meters, I guess. You can see behind me. Woo! Come on, kitty. Woo-hoo-hoo! YuShan Front Peak.
Yeah.
First impressions?
Very tired.
Second impression?
It's pretty cool.
Yay.
It is cool.
Just mountains as far as the eye can see. It's truly breathtaking. both because there's not enough oxygen up here and it's actually that beautiful. What a view. Honestly, this is totally out of this world. I'm really happy we got out here. Hold this. I want to lift you up. Hold this with the other hand.
I don't think it would be like that.
I can.
Really.
Sit. Yoo-hoo! Highest point on this mountain, at least.
Yes.
Where are we, kitty? Woo-hoo-hoo! We made it! Little detour to take a picture that someone carved out. Now I'm gonna have to go through this little grassy area to get myself back to the actual front peak. As you can see in a second, it's definitely a little overgrown. Whew. Kitty, hi.
Hi.
Kitty, how are you feeling on the way down?
Cool. A little hungry.
What do you think was more difficult, up or down?
Up. Definitely.
This is pretty slippery though.
Oh. Gotta be careful.
Yeah, pretty steep.
We made it.
Well, we made it off the hard part, but there's still the easy part. Does lunch taste better after you've suffered?
Not really. Not for me.
Definitely way too hot. I see why some people left in shorts. If you can just tough out until sunrise, it's gonna be quite the scorcher. Actually wrap myself up so I don't get burnt. Because yeah, with this sort of less atmosphere, high altitude thing, and direct sunlight with absolutely zero clouds. Gorgeous. Okay, well, I'm not lying. There's like 2 clouds. They're right there. But mostly zero clouds. It's like an absolutely gorgeous bluebird day. But it also means you have the sun just beating down on you. And it is absolutely brutal and I have nothing to change into. So I'm just sweating in this thick Under Armour. Yoo-hoo, kitty, finished it. First bayou. Bayou. Feelings immediately after completing?
Been great.
A lot of pride, self-respect. Good job. I know you pushed really hard. Okay, so as we finished the video, we realized that there was a few important pieces of information left out. Namely, we're the only people that started the front peak hike so early. Usually people start right around sunrise, and we went up a little before 4. Part of the reason being is that the next day, actually the same day as we finished, we had to switch locations and drive to DongPu village and check into an Airbnb, and we wanted to finish the hike early enough that we would avoid driving at night, especially on a scooter, which is a lot more difficult than trying to drive a car at night through the mountains.
I think you can wait until I think the shuttle bus will start around 6:30 from where you will have to check it, like Pai Taiwan tourist center.
And so if
So
you
we
want
near by
to
the police station
avoid doing that 3-kilometer hike from DongPu
to
to
the trailhead.
the trailhead, which is all on a road, then you can obviously just wait to start earlier. I like to start later. I like to start earlier because we actually got to do the entire hike all alone, and we reached the summit alone, and it wasn't until we started going down, maybe like 30-40 minutes after reaching the summit, that we encountered anyone else. So it honestly made for a much more pleasant hike if you have the aptitude to wake up that early. We also chose to end the video and the story when we reached the YuShan trailhead, but in reality there's another 3 kilometers and another hour to hike back to the DongPu Lodge, unless you want to take the shuttle bus, which when we got down we still had a lot of energy and motivation, and we did not want to take the shuttle bus. We tried to just walk the rest of the way, and I think from the entire hike that was just the worst and most brutal portion, because walking on that concrete and knowing that everything beautiful and exciting about the hike is done, but you just have to get back to your scooter and all your gear, is just not really that exciting for any of us. And that last
We made so many monkeys.
Yeah, if you want to see wildlife, we saw monkeys,
Yeah.
deer, and some crazy birds that just all pose for the tourists.
But remember, those monkeys are crazy.
Yeah, they steal your things. Don't get too
Yeah.
close. We also brought a temperature gauge with us. It's just one of those cheap ones you can get on Shopee, but it shows humidity and relative temperature. So when the temperature fluctuates, sometimes I felt it was a little high, but that's because our temperature gauge was sitting directly in the sun, which I guess would mimic how I would feel when I'm also walking directly in the sun. But the rest of the time...
But they were started in summer, like late summer, like late September. So
yeah, we did
in
start
the
pretty
city,
late.
It's like 30 to 33 degrees or something like that.
And supposedly the YuShan main peak only has a high of 11, but since we did not go up that way, we just went to the front peak.
Yeah.
It definitely was not a high of 11. It was brutally hot at the top. When we first got there and emerged from the shade, it was still comfortable, but that's good. I think because we were used to hiking in the forest and under the cover of trees. But within the first 10-15 minutes at the top, when the sun was, well above the horizon, it definitely felt too hot to be dressed as we were dressed.
And if you can't get the permit to the main peak, the front peak is one good option too.
Yeah,
It's easier to get the
and it
permit.
can definitely be done in one day.
Yes.
Oh, that's what we should talk about. The reason that we did the front peak. I did not correctly read the permit, and I applied for the trails from Paiyun Service Center to YuShan Front Peak Trail. And while Front Peak sounds like Main Peak when you first apply, Front Peak is very different from Main
Not to
Peak.
me though.
Yeah, not in Chinese, but in English, Front Peak, Main Peak, it's like how many more peaks can there possibly be? Because the confusing portion for me is that every single other peak of YuShan is done on the same permit for the main peak. You only have to get a separate permit for the front peak. So I didn't read too closely, and honestly, I'm actually sort of happy we did this. It's not the most popular hike, and I probably would have never done this had I not accidentally booked it, but it proved to be quite challenging and both very interesting just to see that crazy rock and scree field and climb up it.